Welcome once again sa aking video lesson. Wala muna akong masyadong pasabog ngayon at yung aking avatar din muna ang magtuturo sa inyo. Pero ganun pa man, sisikapin ko pa rin na mas maunawaan nyo ang topic for today at mas maipaliwanag ko sa inyo sa pinakamadaling paraan. Today, we will be discussing rational root theorem. So, listen attentively ha, kasi medyo nakakalito, mahaba, pero madali lang naman kung makikinig tayo. And kung nalito, just play back yung ating video lesson para mas maunawaan nyo. Okay?
Now, let us have first a review of our previous lesson. We will identify the leading coefficient, which we will represent as a sub n, and the constant term, which we will represent as a sub 0 of the following polynomials. We have here f of x is equal to x cubed plus 2x squared minus x minus 2. The constant is, that's right, it's negative 2. Yung number na walang kasamang variable. And the leading coefficient here is, ayan, it's 1. Yun naman yung number sa unahan ng variable na may pinakamataas na exponent. So you have to look for the degree first, yung pinakamataas na exponent. At yung numerical coefficient sa unahan ng variable na yon na may pinakamataas na exponent, yun ang ating leading coefficient, diba? Okay, so for this one, f of x is equal to x cubed minus 19x plus 30. The constant is, ayan, positive 30. And the leading coefficient is again invisible 1 sa unahan ng x cubed. Now for this example, f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 4x cubed minus x plus 3. Tingnan nyo maigi, hindi siya naka-arrange from highest exponent down to the constant. So, kahit na hindi siya naka-arrange, titingnan nyo pa rin yung may pinakamataas na exponent. Okay? Tapos, yung number sa unahan ng variable na yun, yun ang ating leading coefficient. But now, we will identify first the constant, which is positive 3. And the leading coefficient is, ayan, yung degree natin ay 3 or yung pinakamataas na exponent ay 3. At sa unahan nung x cubed na yon ay yung ating leading coefficient, which is 4. In this example, 2x cubed plus 7x squared plus 2x minus 3, iyan, nakaayos naman siya from highest exponent down to the constant. At ang constant natin ay negative 3. And the leading coefficient is, ayan, 2. And for this example, f of x is equal to x plus 4 times the quantity x plus 1 times the quantity x minus 3 quantity squared. Okay, so since hindi siya since naka-factor out siya, titingnan pa rin natin yung constant. Paano ba malalaman yun? E di, itong pinaka nasa dulo niya. So, let's see first. Negative 3 square. Ano ba yung negative 3 square? Diba? Positive 9. Again, negative 3 square means negative 3 times negative 3. So, that's positive 9 times positive 1 times positive 4, which is 36. Ayan. At sa leading coefficient naman, multiply natin yung mga nasa unahan. So, 1 times 1 times 1, which is just equal to 1. Now, isa-isahin natin itong mga to. We have the f of x in general form. Ito yung given natin. F of x is equal to x cubed plus 2x squared minus x minus 2. Now, f of x in factored form, meaning kapag ka na-factor na natin yan, the result is quantity x minus 1 times the quantity x plus 1 times the quantity x plus 2. Pag na-factor na natin yan. Yung factoring naman, na-discuss na sa inyo before, so we will no longer discuss that, kung paano mag-factor. Now, the zeros or the roots are, ayan, equate lang natin isa-isa sa zero. So, x minus 1, ang root natin dyan ay positive 1. Para dito naman, x plus 1 is equal to 0. Pag in-equate natin sa 0, tapos nilipat natin yung positive 1 sa kanan, it will be negative 1. And then, x plus 2 is equal to 0, or by addition property, mag-a-add tayo ng negative 2 on both sides. So, instead na x plus 2 is equal to 0, x will now become negative 2. So, those are the zeros or the roots. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, ang shortcut pala, kung negative 1 yan, nagiging positive 1 yan. Kung positive 1, nagiging negative 1. Kung positive 2, nagiging negative 2. Dahil nga, ini-equate natin sa 0. Now, the factors of the constant term a sub 0. Diba kanina, nirepresent natin ang constant as a sub 0. Hanapin daw natin yung factors ng p. Saan ba matatagpuan yung p? Ayun. Ang p natin ay yung ating constant, which is negative 2. So, ano-ano ba yung mga number na kapag minultiply natin, negative 2 ang sagot? Isn't it that we have negative 2 times, remember negative 2 dapat ang sagot. So, positive 1. Or, para maging negative 2, i-multiply naman natin yung positive 2 times negative 1. Ayan. So, the factors of the constant term a sub 0 is positive and negative. Ayan, kung napansin nyo, isang positive 2 at saka negative 2. And then, dito rin naman, pwede rin natin ipang-multiply yung positive 1 and negative 1. Ayan. So, those are the factors of the constant term or yung p natin. Okay? Next, what are the factors of the leading term or which we represented as a sub n? Yung leading term naman natin, we will name it as our q. So, ayun ang q. Remember na yung x cube may invisible 1 sa unahan niya. Ayan. So, ano daw yung number na kapag minultiply natin, 1 ang sagot? Diba? Wala namang iba kundi either 1 times 1 para maging positive 1 or negative 1 times negative 1 para maging positive 1. Tama? Therefore, the factors of the leading term a sub n or yung q natin is just positive and negative 1. Now, pag hinanap naman natin yung possible rational roots or which we will represent as p over q, ganito lang yon. Yung p, i-divide lang natin sa q. So, 2 over 1. Isang positive at isang negative. And then, ito namang isa. Yung p over q or yung 1 over yung q natin na 1 din. Again, that is positive and negative. So, the possible rational roots are, simplified is 2 over 1 is 2, and 1 over 1 is 1. Parehong may positive, negative yon. So, tingnan nyo rito. Anong po ba mamayang possible rational roots? Yan yung mga posibleng factor niya. Okay? So, tingnan nyo to, x minus 1, x plus 1, x plus 2. Yan yung mga factors niya eh. At kung mapapansin nyo, itong mga numbers na to ay makikita rito sa kanilang apat. Apat yan kasi isang positive, isang negative 2. Isang positive 1, isang negative 1. So, ibig sabihin, pag naglista tayo ng possible rational roots, apat yan lahat. Pwedeng positive 2, negative 2, positive 1, negative 1. But, since ang ating given equation ay x cube, so ang degree natin ay 3, ibig sabihin, tatlo lang ang kailangan nating factors. So, tatlo lang sa apat na to. Yung isa dyan, hindi factor. Okay? So, ano yung tatlong yon? Ulitin ko, x minus 1, x plus 1, tsaka x plus 2 na galing dito sa possible rational roots. Now, let us have another example. Ang f of x natin, given equation ay 3x cubed minus 7x squared minus 18x minus 8. Again, since ang ating degree ay 3 or ang pinakamataas na exponent natin ay 3, ilang factors meron tayo dapat? Tama, tatlong factors. Okay, f of x in factored form, ito yung tatlong yon, 3x plus 2, times the quantity x minus 4 times the quantity x plus 1. Okay? Now, the zeros are, again, equate natin sa 0. So, 3x plus 2 equals 0. So, ililipat ang positive 2, magiging negative 2. And then, we divide both by 3. So, negative 2 over 3 para dito. Para naman dito, equate sa 0. So, yung negative 4 will become positive 4. And in here, x plus 1 is equal to 0, x will become negative 1. Ayan. Now, what are the factors of the constant term a sub 0 or yung natawag nating p? Saan nga ba makikita yung p? Ayun, yung ating constant term. So, ang p natin, ang mga number na po pwedeng i-multiply para maging 8 ay, di ba, pwedeng 8 times 1. Ano yan pwedeng positive 8 times negative 1 o kaya negative 8 times positive 1, di ba? Kasi negative yan eh. At pwede rin namang 4 times 2. Again, pwedeng positive 4 times negative 2 para maging negative 8. Or, pwede rin naman negative 4 times positive 2 para maging negative 8. So, we have 8 positive and negative. Kasi, diba nga, pinaliwanag ko kanina, pwedeng positive 8 times negative 1 o kaya negative 8 times positive 1. And ano pa yung mga possible factors? Right? So, 1, positive and negative. And then we have 4, positive and negative also. And 2, positive and negative. Yan yung mga possible factors ng P. Ayan. So, 8 yan lahat kasi tagdadalawa. Next, what are the factors of the leading term a sub n or yung Q natin? Asan nga ba yung Q ulit? Ayun, sa unahan ng variable na may pinakamataas na exponent. So, ang Q natin ay 3. Ano yung mga numbers sa pag-multiply 3 ang sagot? Isn't it that we only have 3 times 1? Wala nang iba. Pero since positive 3 yan, pwedeng positive 3 times positive 1 or pwede rin namang negative 3 times negative 1. So, the factors are 3, positive and negative. Ayan. Now, how about the possible rational roots or the P over Q? Ayan, so ilan kaya yung mga pwedeng maging possible rational roots? Remember, 3 lang kailangan natin pero ilang kaya lahat ng posibleng pwedeng maging possible rational roots? So, isa-isahin natin. Diba, yung P, divide lang natin sa Q. So, we have, ito yung P, ito yung Q. So, we have 8. Ito pa pala. I forgot that for the factors of the leading term, ito, pwede rin palang 1, positive and negative. Ayan. Nahuli ako ng pindot. Okay? So, again, the possible rational roots, ayan, isa-isahin natin siyang i-divide. Ito yung mga P, divide natin sa Q. So, we have 8 over 3. Ayan. Positive and negative yun, And then, we have 8 over 1 naman. Positive and negative din. Ayan. Tapos, pagkatapos doon, dito naman. So, we have 1 over 3. Positive and negative 2. And then, 1 over 1 naman. Positive and negative. And then, we have, ito naman tayo, 4 over 3. Positive and negative. And then, 4 over 1. Positive and negative. And then we have 2 over 3, positive and negative. And then we have 2 over 1, positive and negative. Ayan. So, simplify natin. Ayan. Nire-write lang ulit. Ito yung huli nating nakuha. So, the simplified P over Q, 8 over 3, fraction na rin yun. Yun pa rin siya. And then we have 8 over 1 is simply 8. Diba? Positive and negative. 1/3 is still the same 1/3. 1 over 3, positive and negative. 1 over 1 is just equivalent to 1. 4 over 3 is just 4 over 3. Yun pa rin siya. 4 over 1 is 4. Positive and negative. 2 over 3 is 2 over 3 pa rin. Positive and negative. And 2 over 1 is 2. Positive and negative. So, ilan ba lahat ng possible rational roots? Bilangin nga natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pero, isang positive tsaka isang negative. So, ilan lahat? Tama. We have 16 possible rational roots. Pero, inulit ko, since ang ang degree natin ay 3, tatlo lang yung kailangan natin dyan. So, tingnan natin kung alin yung mga nakuha natin. Ito yung 0. So negative 2 over 3, dito galing yon. Ito, dito, isa. And then, positive 4, ito yon, dalawa. And then, negative 1, dito yon. Ayan. So, hindi lahat makukuha natin. Yan lang yung possible rational roots, pero tatlo lang yung ating kailangan. Diba? Okay. This is what we mean by rational root theorem. It states that for a polynomial f of x is equal to a sub n, x raised to n, plus a sub n minus 1 times x raised to n minus 1, plus a sub n minus 2 times x raised to n minus 2, and so on, until we have a sub 1x plus a sub 0, which is our constant. The rational root of f of x is of the form p over q in lowest term, where p is the set of all the factors of the constant or a sub 0, and q is the set of all the factors of a sub n or the leading coefficient. Let us have an example para mas lalo nating maintindihan yung rational root theorem. Example 1. List all the possible rational roots of f of x using the rational root theorem. Medyo mahaba to so makinig na maigi. Let's have example 1a. The equation is x cubed plus 3x squared minus 7x plus 10. Now, we are going to list all the factors of the constant term or p. Asan nga ba yung p? Yun yung constant natin, yung walang kasamang x, which is 10. So, ano-ano yung mga number na pag minultiply 10 ang sagot? We have 1 times 10. Ayan. Positive and negative yun kasi diba, para maging positive 10, pwedeng positive 1 times positive 10 or negative 1 times negative 10. Okay? Ano pa? Ano pa yung mga numbers na pwedeng i-multiply para maging 10 ang sagot? That's right. We have 2 times 5. O, ganun lang pala kasimple yun. Yun yung factors ng p. Okay? Next, we will get the factors of the leading coefficient q. Again, asan nga yung q? Yun yung number sa unahan ng variable na may pinakamataas na exponent. In here, ang ating q ay 1. Yan, sa unahan ng x cube. Ano yung number na kapag binultiply 1 ang sagot? Siyempre, wala namang iba kung hindi 1 times 1. Positive and negative. Ayan, madali lang pala yung q. And then we have, eto na, possible rational roots. So, hanapin na natin yung mga possible rational roots. I-divide lang natin yung p over q. So, we have 1 over 1. Ayan. Which is, ayan, positive and negative 1 over 1. And then we have 2 over 1. And then we have 5 over 1. And then we have 10 over 1. Ayan. Pag simplify natin, 1 over 1 is just equal to 1, positive and negative. 2 over 1 is just equal to 2. Positive and negative. 5 over 1 is 5. 10 over 1 is 10. Positive and negative. Ayun. Ganun lang pala kasimple maglista ng mga rational, possible rational roots. Okay, nakuha nyo ba? Okay, let's have example B. 3x to the 4th power minus x cubed minus 3x squared plus 9x minus 12. Again, factors muna ng p, yung constant natin. Ito yung walang kasamang x, which is negative 12. Yan. So, ano-ano yung mga number pag binultiply 12 ang sagot? We have 1 times 12. Ano pa? Pwede ring 2 times 6 para maging 12. Or, pwede rin namang 3 times 4. Ayan, para maging 12. So, ito na. Ito na yung mga factors ng P natin. Factors naman ng Q. Ano ba yung Q? Ayun. Yung number sa unahan ng variable na may pinakamataas na exponent. Ito yon, which is 3. So, ano-ano yung mga number na pag minultiply 3 ang sagot? Walang iba kung hindi 3 times 1 or 1 times 3 lang naman, diba? Ayan, positive and negative. Now, ito na. Possible rational roots or the P over Q. Isa-isahin lang natin i-divide yung P sa Q. So, we have 1 over 1. Ayan. 1. Tapos 1 naman, over naman kay 3. 1/3. Tapos ito naman, 2 over 1. Tapos si 2 pa rin, over kay 3. Ayan. Tapos si 3 naman, 3 over 1. And then 3 over 3. And then si 4 naman, over 1. 4 over 3. 6 over 1. 6 over 3. Ganun lang pala yun. And then we have 12 over 1. And then 12 over 3. Ayan. Ito na yung mga possible rational roots. Pero simplify muna natin. 1 over 1 is just equal to 1. Positive and negative lahat yun, ha? 2 over 1 is 2. 3 over 1 is 3. 4 over 1 is 4. 6 over 1 is 6. 12 over 1 is 12. 1/3. 1/3 pa rin. 2/3 pa rin. 3 over 3 is just equal to 1. Pero naisulat na natin yung 1 dito. So, hindi na natin kailangan isulat ulit. 6 over 3 or 6 divided by 3 is 2. Naisulat na rin natin yon. So, hindi na natin kailangan isulat ulit. And 12 over 3 is 4. So, naisulat na rin natin yon. Kaya hindi na natin kailangan isulat ulit. So, ibilangan nga natin ilang possible rational roots meron tayo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pero, isang positive at saka isang negative. So, lahat ng possible rational roots ay 16 pala. Ang dami, no? Pero ilang lang ba kailangan natin? Kung x to the 4th yan, syempre 4 lang. Kung x to the 3rd yan, 3 lang. Okay? Now, let us have more examples. Find the zeros or the roots of the polynomial function. Solve for x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. Okay. Ngayon, ang hahanapin natin, hindi lang yung mga factors. Kung hindi lang yung mga factors and possible rational roots, kung hindi mismo yung mga rational roots niya. Okay. Bibigyan ko kayo ng iba't ibang solution na unahin muna natin to. Factors of the constant term, syempre, ang P natin ay 6. So, yung mga number na pwedeng i-multiply para maging 6 ay 1 times 6 or pwede ring 2 times 3. So, yun ang mga factors ng P. Factors naman ng Q, ayan, yung invisible 1 sa harapan, walang iba kundi 1 lang, 1 times 1. Okay? And then P over Q, ayan, isa-isahin natin. 1 over 1 is 1. 2 over 1 is 2. 3 over 1 is 3. Then 6 over 1 is 6. Ayan. Sinimplify ko na, ha. Positive and negative lahat yon. Now, since the coefficient of the polynomial are all positive, only negative roots are possible to have a result of 0 when substituted in the polynomial. Ganito ibig sabihin nun. Using the remainder theorem and factor theorem, we need only to check negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 6 as possible roots. Kasi nga, yun lang yung mga values na po pwedeng maging 0. Diba? Sabi natin yung nag-factor theorem tayo na magiging factor lang siya kung ang ating remainder ay 0. Pero i-check na rin natin yung iba para ma-sure natin na talagang hindi 0 yung iba. So, let us see. Okay? Ito yung ating mga possible rational roots, ha? So, 8 yan lahat. Yung mga negative lang muna i-check natin. So, if x is negative 1 ang ipapalit natin sa value ng x. Ito yon. So, negative 1 cube is negative 1. Negative 1 square is positive 1 times 6. Negative 1 times 11 plus 6. Ayan. So, negative 1, 6 times 1 is 6. 11 times negative 1 is negative 11 plus 6. When we simplify, magsamahin natin. 6 and 6, 12. Tapos, negative 1 and negative 11, negative 12. So, 12 minus 12 is 0. Ayan. Therefore, Ayan, di ba? Pinapalitan natin ng sign. So, or equate sa 0. So, x plus 1 is a factor. Tandaan nyo isang factor natin ay x plus 1. Another one, let us check if x is equal to negative 2. Negative 2 naman ipapalit natin. So, we have negative 2 cube, ayun yun, plus 6 times negative 2 square, plus 11 times negative 2 plus 6. So, negative 2 cube is negative 8. Negative 2 square is positive 4. Ayan, tapos ginaya lang yung iba. And then negative 8, 6 times 4 is 24, 11 times negative 2 is negative 22 plus 6. When we simplify them all, 0. Check natin. 8 tsaka 22, negative pareho, so negative 30. And then 24 plus 6 is positive 30. So 30 minus 30 is 0. Therefore, x plus 2 is a factor. Ayan. Dalawa na yung nakukuha nating factor kanina. Pero since x cube yung ating given equation, tatlo lang yung kailangan natin. So, check natin yung isa. If x is equal to negative 3, negative 3 naman ipapalit natin. So, negative 3 cube, ayun yun, plus 6 times negative 3 square, plus 11 times negative 3 plus 6. So, negative 3 cube is negative 27. Negative 3 square is positive 9. And then, ginaya lang yung iba. P of negative 3 is negative 27. 6 times 9 is 54. 11 times negative 3 is negative 33 plus 6. When we simplify, 0. Check natin. 33 at saka 27, that's negative 60. And then 54 and 6 is 60. So 60 minus 60 is 0. So yung isang hinahanap nating na factor, di ba, tatlong factor yon ay x plus 3 pala. Okay, tatlo na yun, okay na. Pero check na rin natin para mapakita ko lang sa inyo na yung iba ay hindi siya factor. Kasi ilan lang naman yan, 8. So nakakatatlong check na tayo. How about if x is negative 6? Pag pinalitan natin, negative 6 cube is negative 216. And then, plus 6 times 36 plus 11 times negative 6 plus 6. When we evaluate, P of negative 6 is equal to negative 60, which is not 0. Diba, kapag hindi siya 0, it is not a factor. Ilan na yung na-check natin? 4 na. Now, let us try the other possible rational roots. Although, tatlo na yung nakuha nating factors, pero gusto ko lang ipakita sa inyo na yung iba doon ay hindi na magiging factor or yung remainder niya will not be equal to 0. Kasi, di ba, x cube lang yung ating 3 yung degree ng ating given equation. So, meaning, tatlo lang yung hinahanap nating rational roots. But since nakuha na natin yun, the rest nun ay hindi na magiging factor. Let us try if x is equal to 1. Substituting the value of 1 to x, we have 1 cube plus 6 times 1 square plus 11 times 1 plus 6. Simplifying, we have 1 plus 6 plus 11 plus 6. And P of 1 is equal to 24. Yan, 6, tsaka 6, 12, 13, tsaka 11, 24. So, since P of 1 is not equal to 0, therefore, x minus 1 is not a factor. And let us try again, how about if x is equal to 2? Substituting the value of x, we have 2 cube plus 6 times 2 square plus 11 times 2 plus 6. So 2 cube is 8, 2 square is 4, and then the rest. 8 plus 24 plus 22 plus 6 is equal to 60, which is not equal to 0. Diba? Again, pagka hindi siya naging 0, it is not a factor. Ayan. So, 6 na lahat yung na-test natin. Lahat ng possible rational roots ay 8, diba? So, hindi na natin iti-test yung dalawa pang natitira, which is yung negative 6 ata, and yung isa yung 3. Okay? So, since nakuha na naman natin yung mga factors. Now, ito yung mga factors na nakuha natin. X plus 1, x plus 2, and x plus 3. And the roots are, ayan, equate lang natin yan sa 0. X plus 1 is equal to 0. So, the roots are negative 1 para dito, negative 2 para dito, and negative 3 for here. Therefore, the factors of x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6 are quantity x plus 1 times the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 3. Now, let us solve x cubed minus 3x plus 2, meaning we will get all the factors. First, we have to get the factors of p. The p are, yan, yung mga number na po pwede i-multiply para maging positive 2 are positive and negative 1 and positive and negative 2. For q naman, yan, sa unahan ng variable na may pinakamataas na exponent, which is invisible 1, the factors of 1 are positive and negative 1. We have p over q, 1 over 1 is 1, 2 over 1 is simply 2. So, 4 lang yung possible rational roots natin dito sa equation na to. Okay? Pero ilan ang kailangan natin? 3 lang. Now, using the synthetic division, sa tingin ko, mas madadalian kayo dito. Let us see. So, ito yung ating, diba? Ating equation. X to the third, ang numerical coefficient niya ay 1. X to the second, meron ba? Wala. So, 0. X to the first is negative 3, and then the constant is positive 2. Now, dito tayo pipili sa 4 na to kung ano yung gusto nyong i-test. Kung alin dyan yung gusto nyo munang i-test na possible rational root. Okay, 4 yan ha. Positive 1, negative 1, positive 2, negative 2. Pili lang kayo. Okay? Ang hinahanap natin, dapat yung remainder niya magiging 0. So, kahit na ano unahin nyo. Tip ko sa inyo, huwag kayong mag-start sa malaking number. Okay, so let us try muna. If x minus 2, so x minus 2, kung ang ating divisor ay x minus 2, syempre ang ilalagay natin dito is positive 2. Let's see. Bring down 1 times 2, 2. Plus 0, 2. Times 2, 4. Minus 3, 1. Times 2, 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Ayan, hindi siya naging 0. So, since the remainder is not 0, x minus 2 is not a factor. O, ayan. So, hindi siya factor. Try natin yung iba. So, ulit, 1, 0, para sa x squared. Para sa x to the first is negative 3. Para sa constant ay 2. Try naman natin for the divisor x minus 1. So, ilalagay natin sa labas ay, kung negative 1 yan, positive 1. Okay? Bring down 1 times 1, 1. Add 1 times 1, 1. Negative 3 plus 1, magkaiba ng sign, subtract, so negative 2. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And 2 minus 2 is 0. So, ibig sabihin, since the remainder is 0, x minus 1 is a factor. Ayun. So, meron na tayong isang factor. Dalawa na lang yung hinahanap natin, ha? Pero, maituturo ako sa inyong mas madali. Since dito pa lang, ang remainder natin ay nag-0 na, pwede natin gamitin yan. Sa halip na itong 1, 0, negative 3, 2. Ang tawag dyan ay first depressed equation. Okay? So, you may use first depressed equation para sa synthetic division natin. Okay? So, ayan na yun. 1, 1, negative 2. Hindi na natin isasama yung 0. So, ibig sabihin, mas liliit siya, di ba? Mas kukonti yung ating isosolve. Ang tawag dyan ulit, first depressed equation. Ginagamit lang natin yan kung ang remainder natin ay nag-0. So, dito, hindi natin pwedeng gamitin tong 1, 2, 1, 4 kasi hindi naman 0 ang remainder. So, ayan na. 1, 1, negative 2. I-try naman natin for the divisor x plus 1. So, ang ilalagay natin sa labas ay negative 1. Ayan. Mas konti na yung ating isosolve, di ba? So, bring down 1 times negative 1, negative 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 times negative 1 is 0, and negative 2 times 0 is negative 2. So, hindi siya 0. Since the remainder is not 0, therefore x plus 1 is not a factor. Ala, bakit ganun? 4 lang yung ating possible rational, pero yung dalawa doon, yung positive 1 tsaka negative 1, hindi na siya hindi siya factor. So, ibig sabihin, meron pang isa na lang na natitira. Paano pa yung pang isa pa? Baka pwedeng umulit. So, let us see. Gamitin ulit natin tong first depressed equation. So, we have 1, 1, negative 2. Hindi na kasama yung 0, Ngayon, ang itry naman natin ay x plus 2. Kanina, x minus 2. Ngayon, x plus 2. So, ilalagay natin sa labas ay negative 2. Ayan. Bring down 1, 1. Times negative 2, negative 2. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. And negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. Ayan. 2 minus 2 is 0. Ayun naman pala. So, nag-0 na siya. Ibig sabihin, x plus 2 is a factor. Ayan, meron na tayong dalawang factor, which is x minus 1 tsaka x plus 2. Hanapin na lang natin yung natitirang isa. Pero nagamit na natin lahat, no? Yung positive 1, ito yun. Negative 1, ito yun. Positive 2, ito yun. Negative 2, ito yun. Na-try na natin yung 4 na possible rational roots. So, ibig sabihin, kung 3 ang kailangan natin, pero na-try na natin yung 4, 2 pa lang ang nakukuha natin, yung isa doon, uulit. Okay? So, try natin. In solving x cubed minus 3x plus 2, for x minus 1, ito na yung ating synthetic division. Nag-0 na yung ating remainder dito when we solve. Therefore, x minus 1 is a factor. So, one of the factors, diba, 3 yung hinahanap natin, is x minus 1. Kung x minus 1 yung factor, ang root natin is positive 1. Now, using this one as our first depressed equation, so we have 1, 1, negative 2, hindi nakasama yung 0. For x plus 2, ayan, nag-0 ulit yung ating remainder. Therefore, x plus 2 is a factor. Ayan. If x plus 2 is one of the factors, yung root niya naman ay negative 2. Now, kung ganito na lang yung ating equation na natitira sa synthetic, pwede ulit tayong mag-second depressed equation. Pero pinakamadali ganito. Diba, ito yung remainder, ito yung may constant. Ayan. Ito naman yung may x to the first power. So, ang quotient natin dito ay x to the first power minus 1. Wala na yung remainder. Equate lang natin yan sa 0. So, we have x minus 1 is equal to 0, x is equal to positive 1. Yun na ngayon yung pangatlo nating root. Ayan. So, yung isang factor natin, ito, it's x minus 1. And then, yung isa sa mga root ay 1 ulit. So, ibig sabihin, 2 beses na ulit yung positive 1 na root natin or yung factor na x minus 1. X minus 1 times the quantity x plus 2 times x minus 1 ulit. Ayan. Multiplicity of 2. Now, just checking for x plus 2 using the original equation. Okay. Papakita ko lang sa inyo yung isa pang paraan na. Say, for example, ito, use the synthetic division, that's 1. X to the second is 0. X to the first is negative 3. And then the constant is 2. If we are going to check for x plus 2, syempre ilalagay natin dito, it's negative 2. Kunyari, hindi pa natin nakukuha yung tatlong factors, This is another way of getting the factors. So, bring down 1. Times negative 2, it's negative 2. Plus 0, negative 2. Times negative 2, positive 4. Minus 3, it's positive 1. Times negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 2 is 0. So, alam na natin na ang x plus 2 is a factor. Now, this is the remainder. This is the constant. Ayan. This is the numerical coefficient for x raised to the first power. Ito naman yung numerical coefficient para sa x to the second power, diba? Now, in here, since x squared minus 2x plus 1 is a quadratic equation, Then, we can find the other factors by factoring, kung nare-recall niyo yung factoring nyo. So, paano nga ba yon? Di ba, dalawang binomial ang kailangan natin since quadratic yan? X sa una, X din dito sa first term. And then, ano yung number na kapag minultiply, positive 1 ang sagot, at pag pinag-add naman or sinubtract, negative 2x ang sagot. So, we have, since positive 1 yan, dalawang negative. Negative times negative is positive. Tapos, pag kinumbine naman, negative and negative, pagka kinumbine, negative, which is tatama sa gitna natin. So, that's negative 1 times negative 1. Okay? Let us check. X times x by FOIL method, x squared. Negative 1x at saka negative 1x. Pag kinumbine, negative 2x. And then last times last, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Therefore, the other factors are x plus 2. Ayon, ito yon. And then, itong dalawa, x minus 1 times x minus 1. Ayun. So, pareho din pala. So, pwede kayong mag-synthetic division, kung mas madali sa inyo, go on and so on, hanggang makuha niyo lahat ng factors. O kaya, pwede rin naman kung sanay kayo mag-factoring, pwede niyo pagkatapos yung makuha yung ito, i-factor niyo na lang. Pwede rin naman yun. Now, let us have example 3. Given the equation x to the fourth minus 2x cubed minus 13x squared plus 14x plus 24, we have to list all the factors of the constant term. Yun yung ating p. We will also list all the factors of the leading term, which is our q. We will find all the possible rational roots, give all the factors, and give all the roots. Now, doon muna tayo sa factor ng constant term natin, yung p. Ano nga ba yung constant term natin dito? Right, it's 24. So, ano-ano yung mga number na pag multiply natin, 24 ang sagot? Of course, we have 1 times 24. Positive and negative yun, ha? Bakit nga ulit? Isn't it that to have positive 24, ito yung constant natin, we can multiply positive 1 times positive 24, or pwede rin namang negative 1 times negative 24. And then, ano pa yung mga factors ng 24? Pwede rin namang 2 times 12. We can also have 3 times 8 and 4 times 6. Lahat yon positive and negative. So, ayan na yung ating p. Now, we go na with the factors of the leading coefficient, which is our q. Yun yung number sa unahan nung variable na may pinakamataas na exponent. So, 1 yon. And ano nga ba yung mga factors ng 1? Walang iba kundi 1 times 1. Positive and negative din yon. Now, to get p over q, or the possible rational roots, divide lang natin yung p over q. So, we have 1 over 1, 2 over 1, 3 over 1, 4 over 1, 6 over 1, 8 over 1, 12 over 1, at 24 over 1. Now, in here, lahat yun, positive and negative. So, i-simplify natin. Simplest form of all the possible rational roots. Isn't it that 1 over 1 is 1, and 2 over 1 is 2, and so on? 3, this one is 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Positive and negative yon. So, bilangin nga natin ilan yung mga possible rational roots. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, pero since positive and negative yon, so we have 16 possible rational roots. Now, ito ulit yung ating possible rational roots. 16 lahat yan. Pero sa ating given equation, since ang degree ay 4, ibig sabihin, 4, dito sa 16 na to ang ating magiging roots. Okay? 4 lang dito sa 16 na to. So, isa-isa nating itatry yan. Pero ang tip ko sa inyo, wag muna kayo mag-start dun sa malalaking number. Dun muna kayo sa maliliit na number. Okay. So, paano natin gagawin yon? By synthetic division. So, in here, kunin muna natin yung mga numerical coefficient. So we have 1, negative 2 for x to the third power. For x to the second, we have negative 13. For x to the first power, we have 14. And for the constant, we have 24. Ulitin ko, sa 16 na to, apat dyan yung roots natin. So, magte-test tayo, trial and error, kung alin dyan sa 16 na yan. So, let's say, x minus 1 ang ating divisor. Yan, dalawa kasi yan, di ba? Positive 1 and negative 1. So, pwede natin itry muna x minus 1. Siyempre, ang ilalagay natin sa labas ay positive 1. Kasi, ang divisor natin is x minus 1. So, bring down 1 times 1 is 1. 1 and negative 2 subtract. So, negative 1 times 1. It's negative 1. And then add, since same sign sila, negative 14 times 1, negative 14. 14 minus 14 is 0. And 0 times 1 is 0. 24 plus 0 is 24. Now, in here, since yung ating remainder ay hindi 0, ibig sabihin yung x minus 1 is not a factor. So, tatry ulit tayo ng iba dito sa 16 na to, kung alin yung magiging factor. Okay? So, 15 na lang, 15 na lang yung pwede nating itry. Now, using the same numerical coefficients, so 1, negative 2, negative 13, 14, and 24, itry naman natin yung divisor na x plus 1. So, kung x plus 1 yon, ang ilalagay natin sa labas ay negative 1. Again, bring down 1. Times negative 1 is negative 1. Add negative 3. Times negative 1 is positive 3. Subtract kasi magkaibang sign. So, we have negative 10. Times negative 1 is positive 10. 14 plus 10 is 24. Times negative 1, it's negative 24. And 24 minus 24 is 0. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, kung ang remainder ay 0, ito ay factor x plus 1. So, sulat na natin dun sa taas. Isa sa factor niya ay x plus 1. Therefore, ang root niya ay negative 1. Ayan. So, meron na tayong isang factor at tatlo na lang yung hinahanap natin. Pero meron pa tayong 14 na possible na ititest. Okay. Now, with here, since naging 0 na yung ating remainder, pwede natin itong gamitin as our first depressed equation. So, this is 1. Ito yung negative 3. Ito yung negative 10. Ito yung 24. Hindi na natin isasama yung 0. We call it as the first depressed equation. Tapos, try ulit tayo ng isa pang divisor. Let us have x, negative 2 yung nasa labas. So, ibig sabihin ang ating pang-divide ay x plus 2. So, let's see. Bring down 1. Times negative 2 is negative 2. Add negative 5. Times negative 2 is positive 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. Times negative 2 is 0. So, 24 plus 0 is 24. So, hindi siya naging 0. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya factor. Yung x plus 2 is not a factor. Okay? Let's try another one using the same, ito, yung first depressed equation. 1, negative 3, negative 10, and 24. Let us now try if our divisor is x minus 2. So, ilalagay sa labas ay positive 2. Bring down 1 times 2, 2. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1 times 2, negative 2. Negative 10 and negative 2 is negative 12. Times 2 is positive 24. And 24 minus 24 ay 0. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, x minus 2 is a factor kasi nag-0 yung ating remainder. O, isulat natin sa taas. X minus 2 yung factor, isa sa mga factor, and ang root natin ay positive 2. Yan. May dalawa na lang tayong hinahanap. Now, using this one, this is the second depressed equation. Pwede nating gamitin ito para mas konti na lang isosolve natin. Or, again, pwede yung itry dito sa second depressed equation or dun sa original equation natin. So, alin man dun, makukuha pa rin natin yung factor natin. if the remainder is 0. Okay, so 1, negative 1, ito yon, negative 12. Ayan, so konti na lang, mas konti na lang yung ating i-work na numbers. So, let us now try if the divisor is x plus 3. So, ilalagay sa labas is negative 3. 1, bring down, times negative 3, add, negative 4, times negative 3, positive 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. So, ayan, naging factor ulit siya. Ibig sabihin, the divisor x plus 3, the binomial x plus 3 is also a factor. Ayan, lalagyan natin dyan. At ang root niya ay negative 3. Okay. Now, ulitin ko ha. Kung yung negative 3 itatry natin sa original or sa first depressed equation, magiging factor pa rin yan. 0 pa rin yung ating magiging remainder. Now, in here, since meron na tayong linear equation, remember, ito yung ating remainder, tapos ito yung ating constant, ito yung ating may x numerical coefficient ng may x to the first power. So, ito, pwede na natin maging factor yan. This is x minus 4, yun, ilalagay na natin sa taas bilang isang factor. At ang root niya ay, pag inequate na natin sa 0, x will be equal to positive 4. Ilalagay natin doon. Ayan. So, since nakuha na natin yung 4 na factors, hindi na natin kailangan i-test yung iba pa. Okay? Gagawin lang natin yan kapag hindi pa natin nakukuha yung 4 na factors. 4 kasi ang degree natin ay 4. Pero kung nakuha na natin lahat, pwede na tayo mag-stop. Okay? Ganun lang yon. Now, it's your turn. Given the equation x cubed minus 3x squared minus x plus 3, you have to list all the factors of the constant term, which is our p, list all the factors of the leading coefficient, list all the possible rational roots, list all the factors and all the rational roots. So, habang nag-solve kayo, pwede nyo munang i-pause yung video and i-playback nyo na lang kung ito-check nyo na yung sagot nyo. Now, for the answer, given this equation, the factors of the constant term are, so ano yung mga numbers na pwede i-multiply para maging 3? We have positive and negative 1 and positive and negative 3. For the factors of the leading coefficient, yung ating q, which is 1, ang q naman natin ay positive and negative 1. Now, to list all the possible rational roots, divide lang natin yan. 1 over 1 is 1, and 3 over 1 is 3. Now, for the factors, we have quantity x minus 1 times the quantity x plus 1 times the quantity x minus 3, and all the roots are, para dito, positive 1, para naman dito, negative 1, and for here, it's negative 3. Now, i-check natin kung paano nakuha yung mga factors na yon. Now, in here, since 4 yung ating possible rational roots, remember, positive and negative 1, positive and negative 3, pero 3 lang yung kinakailangan nating factors kasi ang ating degree ay 4. So, 4 yung possible nating pwedeng i-test. So, by synthetic division, mga numerical coefficient niya ay 1, negative 3, negative 1, at 3. Kahit na alin doon so i-check muna natin if x minus 1 is a factor. So, pwede nyo simulan sa positive x plus 3, or x minus 3, or x plus 1. Kahit na alin doon ang mauna, okay lang yon. It doesn't matter as long as ang remainder natin dapat magiging 0. So, kung ang x minus 1 ang ating divisor, so ang nasa labas ay positive 1. Now, bring down 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2 times 1. It's negative 2. And then add negative 3 times 1. it's negative 3. So, 3 minus 3 ay 0. Ayan, nakuha na natin agad yung factor, yung isa sa mga factor. Ibig sabihin, x minus 1 is a factor. So, ilagay na natin sa taas. And ang root nun ay positive 1. Using this one as our first depressed equation, so we have 1, negative 2, negative 3. Hindi nakasama yung 0. Now, let us test x plus 1 naman. So, ilalagay sa labas ay negative 1. Again, pwedeng ito naman ay x plus 3 naman or x minus 3 kahit na alin doon. Pwede natin gamitin yung first depressed equation or pwede naman yung original equation. So, we have bring down 1 times negative 1, it's negative 1. Add negative 3 times negative 1 ay positive 3. 3 minus 3 ay 0. Ibig sabihin, yung x plus 1 is also a factor. So, lagay natin sa taas. At ang root naman ng x plus 1 ay negative 1. Now, in here, ayan, mas madali nang mag-solve kasi linear na lang siya. Remember, ito yung remainder. Ito yung constant. Ito yung may numerical coefficient ng x to the first power. So, we have x minus 3. Yun yung isang factor. Ayan. Pag in-equate natin sa 0, x is equal to positive 3. Yun yung isa nating root. So, these are the factors and these are the roots.
Kamusta guys? May natutunan ba kayo for today? I hope so! Alam ko kahit nahihirapan kayo, sana nakatulong itong video lesson ko para mas maunawaan nyo ang topic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my YouTube channel para updated kayo sa mga video lessons ko. Again, this is me saying, learning math is easy with Teacher SP. Bye-bye!